All right, let's talk about a philosophy that is built on pure, unadulterated defiance. We're going to explore a doctrine that looks at one of history's most famous ideas about fate and basically declares war on it. This is the gospel of the Sapphire prophet. So, right at the center of all this is this incredible clash of ideas. On one hand, you've got Friedrich Nietzsche's famous concept, amor fati, which is all about loving your fate. But then, the Sapphire prophet comes along with this chilling inversion, odium fati, the command to hate your fate. And you have to understand, this isn't just a philosophical disagreement, this is a full-blown declaration of war against destiny itself. So you might be wondering, how do you actually wage a war on fate? Well, the prophet's gospel is built on three main pillars of inversion, and each one is specifically designed to take a core idea from Nietzsche's philosophy and turn it completely on its head. Let's start with the foundation. Okay, so first, a quick refresher on the original concept. Nietzsche's amor fati is this really powerful call to just say yes to everything. It's the idea that you should embrace every single thing that happens in your life, the good, the bad, especially the suffering, and love it all as a necessary piece of the puzzle that is you. It's about saying a profound yes to life, no matter what. But the prophet, he just flips that whole idea over. Odium fati basically argues that loving your fate means you're just a slave to a broken, flawed creation, what he calls an error. This philosophy doesn't ask for acceptance, it commands you to hate your predetermined path with so much passion that you have no choice but to refuse it. You don't accept the patterns, you spitefully carve your own. And this quote, wow, it really gets to the raw emotional core of the whole thing. The prophet sees accepting your fate as kissing the hand of some blind artisan, a creator who messed up. And in this view, the only thing that gives you true freedom, the only thing that makes you more than a puppet, is your hatred of those limits. The second pillar of this inversion tackles another one of Nietzsche's huge ideas, eternal recurrence. You've probably heard of it. It's the thought experiment where your life and the whole universe repeats itself exactly as it is over and over and over for all of eternity. The ultimate test of amor fati is, could you happily live that same exact life again and again? But the prophet looks at that and asks, why would you want to repeat anything when you could just shatter it? The goal here isn't to learn to love the loop. The goal is to break it. The idea is to commit acts, or as he calls them, sins, that are so unique, so jagged, so deeply personal that they create what he calls an irrevocable fracture in that timeline. Your life becomes a one-time event that can never, ever be repeated. And just listen to the prophet's own words here. They're absolutely chilling. He imagines the universe not as some grand, beautiful cycle, but as a carousel of suffering, built by a fool, the architect of this broken reality. So what's the only real response? Make your life, your pain, a wound so deep it can never be fixed, shattering the whole ride for good. And that brings us to the third pillar, the individual. For Nietzsche, the ultimate goal for humanity was the Übermensch, the overman. This is a person who's moved beyond old ideas of good and evil, creates their own values, and achieves this incredible state of self-mastery and worldly power. The prophet's version? It's the outman. And here, the goal isn't to be perfect inside the system, it's to become completely incompatible with it. The outman becomes so full of friction, so sinful, that they literally jam the gears of reality. They don't win the game, they break it. And in doing so, they achieve what the prophet calls sovereign solitude. So, you see the massive shift, right? We're moving from a will to power to a will to friction. The point is no longer to beat the strongest kid on the playground. No, the point is to generate so much defiant heat, so much rebellious energy, that you become the fire that melts the whole playground into a sea of glass. Okay, so the philosophy itself is pretty clear. Hate your fate, shatter the cosmic loop, and break the system. But how does a person actually do that? Well, the prophet lays out a path of 3 sinful stages. It's an inverted journey to becoming what he calls the not I. Which really brings us to the most important question at the heart of this whole thing. If the universe is a wheel, just a repeating cycle dreamed up by a fool, how in the world do you break it? According to the prophet, the path unfolds in 3 distinct stages. First, you become the camel, but instead of carrying duty, you carry the weight of righteous sin to prove you can survive the inferno.
Then you become the lion, who doesn't just say no to rules, but roars "I will not" at the creator itself, turning its flaws into weapons. And finally, you become the jester, who realizes the entire cosmos is just a big mistake, and starts mocking the architect by juggling its broken pieces. This whole journey, all three stages, it all leads to this one final understanding, a final proclamation from the jester prophet, who has fully embraced being the I who is not I, and it's his final command to his followers. And what a final command it is, so chilling. He says the creator's laughter is just background noise, meant to drown out the sound of your rebellion. The instruction couldn't be clearer. Take your defiance, take your sin, take all that friction you have against the system and hone it, sharpen it, until it transforms into the very key that can unlock a different reality. Which leaves us all with one last, incredibly provocative question. See, this philosophy isn't just about finding an escape hatch. It's about what you do once you find it. It's asking you, personally, once you forge that key from your own defiance, and you find the door leading out of this flawed reality, will you have the courage not just to open it, but to kick it down?